When we come back after lunch, I'll be introducing you to the licensing side of what we do. So some of you will be aware that we have almost a bit like a franchise type model that we operate. So I'll be going into some details around how that works, what's involved, what we get for it, and we'll also start looking at some of the nitty-gritty marketing stuff that goes with that too. So we'll be looking at the business opportunity side of things after lunch today. All good? Marvellous. You've all got some packs there on your chairs, you've all got pens and notepaper, so make sure that you do take down some notes today. As you'll see, we have got the video cameras up here today. That's because we're not actually filming you, I'm sorry to say, although I'm sure you're all very close with me. We're actually going to be making some videos for the people who aren't able to make it to these events, so that we can pass on some of the information from today onto those people too. Alright, so before we get started, I always think one of the best places to start is to have a look at why we are here. And I don't mean in the spiritual sense, I mean why you're actually here at this event today. So, I need some feedback from you on this one. Mental health issues in young people, what do you know about that? Now when I say mental health, the very first time I started hearing that terminology around what we do, it gave me the jitters a little bit, because it sounds really serious and quite severe. And actually, it's not necessarily, when we talk about mental health, we're not necessarily talking about stuff that's really high up that spectrum. It's not necessarily schizophrenia and some of those, other more severe illnesses. Actually, things like building confidence, installing self-esteem, making sure that people are motivated, all of those fall under the umbrella of mental health stuff as well. So that's how we fit in with that particular terminology. But in terms of mental health issues in young people, what do you know about those at the moment? Do you think that we are predicting that mental health issues are going to be declining or increasing over the next few years? What have you heard?
I would say increasing.
Increasing? Is everyone, some nods there? Alright, so what we're seeing then is over time, mental health issues in young people are going up. But what do you know about the provision of services? And by provision of services, I mean the services that are out there to offer help to those young people. Is that going up in parallel?
No, it's going down.
So what we've got happening here is a gap. We've got a great big shortfall there. And the thing with that massive shortfall is ultimately that's not good news, that's bad news. However, for us as private services and providers of assistance for young people with mental health issues, this is something that actually we now fit into this gap because we're able to offer a timely service. Is there anyone here that's heard of a service called CAMS in the past? Just some hands? Yeah? Okay, so for those of you that haven't, it stands for Child and Adult Mental Health Services. And it's the kind of assistance that you might get if you were to go to your doctor. They may refer you on to someone from the CAMS team that might be, say, a CBT specialist, maybe a psychologist, something along those lines. Now, those services are currently chock-a-block. They're really rammed and they're not able to see people, in some cases, for up to 18 months. We've just opened a new premises for our business, which means that we have a high street presence now. And we've got people coming in off the street saying, what can you do for me? I've been on the CAMS waiting list for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in some cases. So these young people that are really looking for help, they can't wait that long, whereas we can see someone next week. So this is how we start fitting into this spectrum. Now, what we're also going to look at and take into consideration is the fact that we think that mental health issues are going to be on the increase, but we don't know that for certain. Anything can happen in life, right? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe we've got it wrong. So let's say it is true. Mental health issues in young people is on the increase, but we decide to take some action against it. What would be the implications of that? What's going to be the knock-on effect ecologically? If we did actually take some action, what would we see happening in society, in our communities? What would happen for those young people if we did do something about this now? What do you think? Give me some ideas.
Less crime.
Less crime?
Less use of drugs. Less bullying.
Less drugs. Bullying. Yep, what else?
Self-harming.
Less self-harming.
Increased confidence.
Okay, so we're going to go up on the girl confidence.
Rounded adults.
Okay, I'm just going to put better adults.
Yeah.
Adults, yeah. What about financially? Because this all looks really good, but there's going to be someone counting the pennies here, isn't there? So what's that going to mean for us financially? If we take this action, is this going to be cost effective in the long run, but maybe a little bit tricky in the short term? What do you think? Yeah? Okay, so we're going to have to invest, aren't we? So we're going to have to up our investment, but what we might see in the long run is that we actually end up saving money because we're not having to put it into all of these, resolving all of these issues here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. So let's say then that it is true. Mental health issues in young people is on the increase, but we don't do anything about it. What's the implications there? What will our outcomes be?
Exactly the opposite of everything.
The opposite of all of this stuff. So might we see an increase in crime? Would we see an increase in perhaps drug and alcoholism amongst young people? Okay. What about bullying? Yeah.
More people in prison.
What was that, sorry?
I said more people in prison.
More people in prison, so we're going to have to up the prison services, which is obviously going to, that's quite big cost implications with that one, right? Okay.
Mental health issues.
More mental health issues. Okay.
And it's long term as well, because it will affect on those people's children.
Absolutely. So we end up with a generational issue, don't we? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to put troubled families because it's going to extend beyond that individual, isn't it? What about the financial implications then for the rest of us? If we go down that way.
It would increase.
It would increase. Do you think we would end up spending more here than we end up spending over here? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to see lots of money being spent. Alright, let's do the flip side then. So let's say we do take some action against preventing mental health issues in young people, but it turns out we got it wrong. It was never on the increase. We overreacted. We've taken all of these measures that we probably didn't really need to take. What are going to be the implications of that?
Well, you're still going to have children with more confidence and better self-esteem.
Okay, so we still see all of the good stuff happening. Yeah? Are we spending money unnecessarily?
No,
No.
just you're actually
No.
increasing children's confidence.
Okay, so we are going to be spending money, but we say that's a good thing. Now, just to throw it out there, because this has come up when I've had this conversation with people before, some people have said to me in the past, actually, if we invest money in a problem that we don't have, we could end up creating the problem, because we start drawing awareness towards something that didn't, it wasn't really there, it didn't exist. What do you think about that? No?
I think you prevent, if anything.
So it's still going to be preventative measures. Okay, so we're still going to prevent issues.
Which will lead to a better society.
Yes. So society still manages to improve as a whole. Yep. Okay. How about then, it's not true, there were never any mental health issues increasing, but we didn't do anything about it, we didn't take any action.
Status quo.
Everything stays the same, yes? Alright, now here's the thing. Realistically, we cannot predict the future. We don't know whether it's true or not true, because we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week. We can make probably some very accurate guesses and accurate predictions, but anything could happen. But we do get to choose whether we take action or whether we don't. And I, for one, I prefer the prospects of what's happening here to what would happen over here. So even though we don't get to predict the future, we do get to choose what we do. We do get to choose the action that we take. And for me, I would rather know that I'm leaving behind a better legacy to the next generation than the one that we inherited. Does that make sense? Good. Now you've been sitting down for far too long already. So I want you up on your feet, and I would like you to introduce yourself to some of the other people that are in the room here today. I want you to tell them your name. I want you to tell them where you are from in the world. And I also want you to tell them what is your bigger vision. What is your big game that you're playing? What's your reason for being here today? We've got our one up here. I wish they taught this stuff in schools. The good news is, we're getting there. We're actually doing that already, but our overall goal is to actually get this woven into the curriculum in some way, so that emotional intelligence becomes as important as the academic intelligence stuff. What's your bigger game? What's your reason for being here today? And as you talk to others, I want you to look out for the coincidences, because there will be some. You'll probably find that there's someone here who has the same goal or the same dream as you. Make sure you get their number. We've had it before where we've had next door neighbours who were in the same room talking to each other. They didn't know that they were neighbours either. So listen out for those sorts of coincidences too. So on your feet, I'll give you a few minutes. Off you go. Yes.